What if one of the most trusted faces in Gen V isn't who he seems? What if Greg, the calm, collected figure in a world full of chaos, is actually a carefully placed spy, a plant from Vought sent to control the most unpredictable superhuman of all, SAM Riordan? At first glance, Greg looks harmless, maybe even helpful. But the more you look, the more the pieces start to fit together. He's always around at the right moments, always saying the right things to keep Sam calm. In a show where no one is who they seem, Greg's calmness might be the biggest red flag of them all. From the beginning, Greg has been portrayed as a voice of reason. While most of the characters at Godalkin University operate on emotion, Greg stands apart, measured, thoughtful, and strangely unshaken by the chaos that surrounds him. That composure feels unnatural, especially in a place where fear, power, and corruption collide daily. It's the kind of calm that doesn't come from innocence, it comes from control. And in the boys' universe, control almost always traces back to one source, Vought International. We know Vought's reach extends far beyond the Seven and the boardroom. They fund Godalkin. They control who gets powers, who's groomed for fame, and who gets buried when things go wrong. It's entirely within character for them to plant someone inside the student ranks, someone smart enough to observe and manipulate from the inside. Greg fits that mold perfectly. He's too smart, too informed, and too conveniently placed in scenes where Sam is spiraling out of control. He doesn't just show up, he appears exactly when Sam needs to be stabilized. That's not coincidence, that's surveillance. When you look closely, Greg doesn't just comfort Sam, he manages him. Every time Sam questions Vought's motives, Greg redirects him, calms him, and reframes the problem. It's subtle, but it's there. He never lets Sam focus on the real enemy. Instead, he encourages restraint, patience, and obedience to the system. That isn't friendship, it's conditioning. It's emotional containment, and that's classic Vought behavior. They've always relied on psychological control to keep Supes compliant. From Homelander's manipulation to the way they handle young recruits, Vought doesn't need to kill rebellion, they train it out of you. Greg's role in Sam's life feels exactly like that kind of training. The heartbreaking part of this theory is what it means for Sam. He's one of the few genuinely tragic characters in Gen V, a broken hero trying to make sense of his trauma. His mind is fragile, but his heart is good. And that's what makes Greg's potential betrayal so devastating. If Greg really is a plant, then Sam's entire emotional foundation collapses. The one person he thought truly saw him for who he was would turn out to be part of the very system that tortured and lied to him. That kind of revelation wouldn't just hurt Sam, it would destroy him. And that's where this theory takes its darkest turn. Imagine Sam's reaction if he ever finds out the truth. The anger, the heartbreak, the realization that even his friendships were orchestrated. That kind of betrayal would push him to a place even more dangerous than he's ever been before. Sam has always walked the line between hero and monster, but Greg's betrayal could be the push that sends him over the edge. In a universe built on manipulation, the moment Sam stops trusting anyone could mark the birth of Gen V's next major antagonist. There's even evidence to support this in subtle ways throughout the show. Greg's strange knowledge of Vought's operations, his ability to speak about Compound V like an insider, and his eerily timed appearances all raise questions. Most students at Godalkin barely understand the science behind their powers, yet Greg speaks about it with casual familiarity. It's almost as if he's been briefed. And when you start connecting those dots, you begin to see a pattern. Greg isn't learning these things, he already knows them. He's watching, reporting, and adjusting his behavior like someone trained to de-escalate a volatile subject. Even his dialogue hints at something deeper. Greg often uses phrases about trusting the system, not fighting the current, and believing in structure. At first, those lines sound like motivational advice. But under the surface, they echo the same corporate messaging Vought feeds to all its assets, compliance disguised as wisdom. Greg isn't neutral, he's careful. He's saying just enough to sound reasonable, but not enough to reveal his alignment. That's how handlers operate, they're invisible until the mask cracks. If this theory proves true, the fallout will be massive. Once Greg's true identity is exposed, Sam won't just feel betrayed, he'll feel weaponized. The pain of being used again could transform him into something far more dangerous than Vought ever intended. And ironically, that might be Greg's ultimate failure.